Life has a way of testing us. Sometimes we face storms we never expected, losses we never imagined, and challenges we never wanted. But here's the truth: every storm is temporary, and every test is a chance to reveal the strength within us. Diamonds are formed under pressure. Gold is purified through fire, and the lotus blooms from the mud. Similarly, our glow, our inner light, does not come from avoiding difficulties, but from rising through them. When we go through struggles, we have two choices: either let them break us or let them shape us. Pain is not the enemy, it is often the teacher that molds us into wiser, stronger, and more compassionate human beings. Remember, the goal is not just to go through life, but to glow through life, to shine despite the cracks, to radiate despite the scars, and to inspire despite the struggles. Life does not happen to us, it happens for us. This simple shift in perspective can change everything. When we go through hardships, our natural instinct is to ask, "Why me?" That question makes us feel like victims. But the moment we replace it with, "What can I learn from this?" the pain transforms into a teacher. Perspective is like the lens of a camera. If it is cloudy, the picture will always look blurred. But if you adjust the focus, the same scene becomes beautiful. Think about it. Two people can go through the exact same difficulty, yet their outcomes are completely different. One becomes bitter, broken, and hopeless. The other becomes stronger, wiser, and more compassionate. The difference isn't the problem, it's the perspective. Life is less about what happens to us and more about how we interpret it. Imagine a seed placed in the soil. If the seed could think, it might feel suffocated, buried, and forgotten under the heavy darkness of the earth. From its perspective, it has been pushed into a grave. But if the seed could see the bigger picture, it would realize that it has not been buried, it has been planted. The darkness is not punishment, it is preparation. The pressure of the soil, the weight of the earth, and even the lack of light are part of the process for the seed to grow roots and one day reach the sun. Our struggles are exactly the same. We think we are being buried, but in reality, we are being planted. Perspective is what decides whether we feel hopeless or hopeful. When someone breaks your trust, you can either say, "People are cruel, and I'll never trust again," or you can say, "This experience has taught me to be wiser in choosing whom I trust." When you lose a job, you can either say, "I'm a failure," or you can say, "This is an opportunity to discover new skills and a better path." The situation doesn't change, but the perspective changes everything. Even in relationships, perspective is the game changer. A couple may face arguments and misunderstandings. One perspective says, "This relationship is a burden." Another perspective says, "This relationship is an opportunity to learn patience, communication, and love." The same challenge that could destroy one couple can deepen the bond of another, depending entirely on how they choose to look at it. History and personal stories are full of such examples. Many inventors, leaders, and achievers faced failure after failure. Thomas Edison's teachers once told him he was too stupid to learn anything if he had accepted that perspective. The world might have remained in darkness a little longer. Instead, he chose the perspective that every failure was simply a step closer to success. He reframed his pain into progress. Pain is inevitable, but suffering is optional. What determines suffering is not the size of the problem, but the size of our perspective. If we see struggles as punishments, we remain trapped in them. But if we see struggles as stepping stones, we rise above them. Life is constantly asking us this question: what lens are you looking through? Every time pain knocks on your door, you have a choice. Will you let it define you, or will you let it refine you? That choice, your perspective, shapes whether your pain becomes a prison or a platform, a burden or a blessing, an end or a beginning. When life throws difficulties at us, our first reaction is often resistance. We say, "This should not be happening. Why is this happening to me? I don't deserve this." We fight against reality, and in doing so, we exhaust ourselves. Resistance drains us because it is like swimming against the current. The more we push against what is, the more tired and bitter we become. But there is another way, a better way, the way of resilience. Resilience is not about denying the pain. It is about bending without breaking, moving without losing, and rising without quitting. Picture a tall tree standing in the middle of a storm. The winds howl, the rain lashes, and the lightning cracks. A rigid tree that resists every gust will eventually snap. But a tree that sways with the wind, that bends when it must, survives the storm. That is resilience. It doesn't mean the tree never feels the storm. It means the tree doesn't allow the storm to destroy it. In our lives, storms come in many forms. It could be the loss of a loved one, a betrayal by someone you trusted, financial setbacks, or even inner battles that no one else can see. If we resist these moments, if we keep saying, "This shouldn't happen," we trap ourselves in frustration. But resilience whispers something different. It says, "This has happened. Now, how do I grow from it? How do I adapt? How do I rise?" The resilience does not remove the pain, but it transforms the way we carry it. Think about a glass of water. If you hold it in your hand for a minute, it's easy. If you hold it for an hour, your arm aches. If you hold it all day, your arm becomes numb. The weight of the water never changes, but your ability to carry it depends on how you adjust. Resilience teaches us not to resist the weight, but to shift it, to rest when needed, and to strengthen ourselves to hold it longer. There's a story of a Japanese art form called kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold. Instead of hiding the cracks, they are highlighted, making the object more beautiful and valuable than before. This is the essence of resilience. We don't pretend the cracks never happened, nor do we resist the fact that we broke. We embrace the break, heal it with wisdom, and shine brighter because of it. The most resilient people are not those who never fall, But those who fall and keep getting up again and again, every setback becomes their stepping stone. Every no they hear fuels them to keep going until they find the yes. Resistance makes us rigid, and rigidity makes us fragile. Resilience makes us flexible, and flexibility makes us strong. Think of bamboo. Unlike hardwood trees, bamboo bends with the wind and sways with the storm. But when the storm passes, bamboo stands tall again, stronger than before. Its flexibility is its strength. In the same way, resilience is not weakness, it is quiet strength. The ability to endure, to adjust, and to continue moving forward despite obstacles. In there, life is never about avoiding challenges, it is about how we face them. We cannot control every wave that comes our way, but we can learn to surf on them. Resistance tries to stop the wave, resilience rides it. Resistance leaves us angry and stuck. Resilience leaves us wiser and free. And when we learn this art, we discover that the storms we thought would break us were the storms that shaped us. Every scar we carry is a silent storyteller. It speaks not only of the pain we endured, but also of the strength we discovered along the way. When we look at scars, physical or emotional, our first instinct is often to hide them, to cover them up, to pretend they do not exist. But what if we looked at them differently? What if we saw them not as marks of weakness, but as badges of survival, proof that we went through something difficult and came out the other side? A scar means the wound has healed. It means that even though there was bleeding, even though there was suffering, we survived. That is why every scar is a story worth telling. Some stories are of heartbreaks that taught us how to love again, wiser this time. Some are of betrayals that taught us the value of trust. Some are of failures that became the foundation for future success. And some are of griefs that taught us the true depth of compassion. Think of a soldier who returns from battle. His scars may look unpleasant, but they speak of courage, sacrifice, and resilience. Similarly, our emotional scars may not be visible to the eye, but they are proof of the inner battles we fought and survived. They remind us that we were wounded, yes, but we were not destroyed. Often, scars become stories that inspire others. A person who has gone through illness and carries the scar of surgery and can encourage someone newly diagnosed that healing is possible. A person who has overcome bankruptcy can give hope to someone currently drowning in financial struggles. A single mother raising children alone carries emotional scars of loneliness and sacrifice. But when she shares her story, it lights the way for others walking the same path. It is important to remember that scars do not reduce our beauty. They redefine it. The Japanese art of kintsugi, where broken pottery is repaired with gold, teaches us this truth. The cracks are not hidden, they are filled with gold, making the piece even more valuable than before. Our scars are like those golden lines. They do not diminish our worth, but add to it, showing the world not just what broke us, but how we healed. When you meet someone, you might admire their success, their confidence, or their smile. But what truly inspires is not the shine you see today, it's the scars they carry that you may not notice. Behind every strong person is a history of wounds, nights of tears, and days of silent battles. Their scars may be invisible, but they are real. And if you look closely, those scars are what make their glow genuine. Scars also keep us humble. They remind us of our humanity. They tell us that we are not invincible, and that is a good thing. They connect us to others because everyone has scars. Different shapes, different stories, but scars nonetheless. They create empathy, for when we show our scars, we say, I know what pain feels like, and in that vulnerability, others find comfort. We often think scars make us less, but in truth, they make us more. They make us storytellers of survival, narrators of resilience, and witnesses of transformation. Every scar whispers, you went through the fire, and yet you did not burn. You walked through the storm, and yet you are still standing. And that story, your story, is worth sharing because it carries within it the power to heal not just yourself, but someone else who is struggling to believe they too can survive. Have you ever noticed how stars can only be seen at night? When the sun is out, the stars are still there, but their brilliance is hidden. It takes the backdrop of darkness for their light to become visible. Life works the same way. Our strength, courage, and resilience often remain invisible until we are placed against the darkness of trials and challenges. It is in the shadows of difficulty that our inner light begins to glow. Darkness is not pleasant. Nobody enjoys suffering, setbacks, or uncertainty, yet paradoxically, it is often in our darkest hours that we find the treasures of our soul. When everything is going well, we rarely pause to reflect, to grow, or to ask deeper questions. But when we are thrown into uncertainty, when the lights seem to go out, we are forced to look inward. And in that inward gaze, we often find a light we never knew existed. Think of coal turning into a diamond. In its ordinary state, coal looks dull, unremarkable, almost useless. But under immense pressure and in the absence of light, it transforms into one of the most precious gems in the world, in thee. Without the darkness of the earth pressing down upon it, the diamond would never come to be. Similarly, without our moments of darkness, we might never discover the priceless qualities hidden inside us. Many people who became sources of light for the world first walked through darkness themselves. Leaders who fought for justice often did so after experiencing injustice. Teachers who inspire patience often gained it through years of suffering. Healers often chose their path after walking through their own pain. In the light they now radiate was revealed in the very darkness they once feared. Darkness also teaches us the value of light. We take sunshine for granted until we walk through a storm. We take health for granted until illness strikes. We take love for granted until loneliness arrives. It is often the contrast of losing something that makes us appreciate it fully. In this way, darkness becomes a teacher. It does not come to destroy us, but to deepen our gratitude for the light when it returns. When we go through difficult times, we may feel consumed by shadows, unable to see a way out. But just as the night is always followed by dawn, every period of darkness carries within it the promise of light. And when that light comes, it shines more brightly because of the contrast. Imagine lighting a small candle in the middle of the day. Its glow is barely noticed. But light the same candle in a dark room, and suddenly it becomes a beacon of hope. Perhaps this is why people who endure pain often become the greatest sources of comfort for others. They know what darkness feels like, so their kindness glows with authenticity. Their empathy becomes a lantern in someone else's night. This is why your struggles are not meaningless. They are shaping you into a source of light for others. So, instead of fearing the dark, perhaps we should learn to embrace it. Not because it is easy or enjoyable, but because it is meaningful. Darkness does not last forever, but while it is here, it allows our hidden light to shine. And once we see that light, we never forget it again. Like the stars in the night sky, our true brilliance is revealed not in comfort, but in challenge, not in sunshine, but in storm, not in brightness, but in the backdrop of darkness. Gratitude is often misunderstood as something we express only when everything is going well. We say, "Thank you," when we receive a gift, when we achieve success, or when life is comfortable. But true gratitude is not tested in easy times, it is revealed in the midst of struggles. Gratitude during comfort is appreciation, but gratitude during pain is transformation. It has the power to shift the entire weight of suffering and turn it into a source of strength. When challenges arrive, our first instinct is to complain. We focus on what went wrong, what we lost, or what we didn't get. Complaining, however, makes the burden heavier. Gratitude, on the other hand, lightens it. It doesn't remove the struggle, but it changes the way we carry it. Instead of looking at life as a series of losses, gratitude teaches us to see the hidden blessings that remain even in the storm. Imagine two people facing the same difficulty. One loses himself in complaints, saying, "Why is this happening to me?" Nothing ever works out. His pain deepens and his hope fades. The other pauses and says, "Yes, this is hard, but I still have people who care about me. I still have lessons to learn. I still have breath in my lungs today." His situation hasn't changed, but his heart has, and that difference creates resilience. Gratitude turns bitterness into acceptance and despair into hope. Think of someone going through illness. It's easy to be consumed by what the body can no longer do. But when the focus shifts to gratitude, grateful for the doctors, grateful for each day alive, grateful even for the strength discovered through weakness, something inside changes. Suddenly, the illness is not just suffering, it becomes a teacher of patience, empathy, and awareness. Gratitude transforms the narrative. Even small acts of gratitude during hardship can create powerful shifts. A person struggling financially might still choose to be grateful for the roof over their head, However simple it may be, someone who has lost a loved one may focus on the gift of the memories they shared. Gratitude does not deny pain, but it reminds us that pain is not the whole picture. There are still fragments of light, and focusing on them gives us courage to continue. Great lives are often built on this principle. Many who emerged from deep struggles used gratitude as their anchor. They chose to focus not on what was taken from them, but on what they still had left. Gratitude allowed them to keep their hearts soft instead of letting bitterness harden them. And because of that softness, they could inspire others long after their struggles ended. Gratitude also rewires our perspective. When we practice it, we begin to see blessings where others see burdens. Losing a job, for example, can feel like devastation. But gratitude can reframe it into freedom. Freedom to explore new paths, freedom to learn new skills, freedom to pursue something that aligns more with one's purpose. Gratitude does not erase the difficulty of the loss, but it prevents the loss from defining us. The truth is, gratitude is not only an emotional choice, it is a spiritual strength. It creates space in our hearts to receive more, because the one who is thankful for little is prepared to be entrusted with more. Gratitude during struggles opens the door to growth. It transforms wounds into wisdom, tears into compassion, and setbacks into stepping stones. And so, in the middle of pain, the simple act of saying, "Thank you," becomes revolutionary. It is the voice that tells life, "You can test me, but you cannot break me. You can challenge me, but you cannot steal my light." Gratitude is not just a feeling. It is a power that turns every struggle into an opportunity for growth. In today's world, so much importance is placed on appearances. We are taught from a young age to dress well, to look good, to present ourselves in a certain way. Social media amplifies this pressure with endless pictures of perfect smiles, perfect vacations, perfect lifestyles. And while there is nothing wrong with looking good on the outside, it becomes a problem when we neglect what matters far more: the light we carry within. The truth is, outer show may impress for a moment, but inner glow inspires for a lifetime. What is inner glow? It is the radiance that comes from kindness, humility, and authenticity. It is the calm strength that shines from someone who has gone through storms, but still carries peace in their heart. It is the compassion in the eyes of a person who has suffered yet chooses to love others more deeply. This glow cannot be bought, faked, or staged. It comes only from living a life rooted in truth and resilience. Imagine two people entering a room. One is dressed in the finest clothes, exuding wealth and status. The other is simply dressed, but carries warmth, humility, and presence. The first may catch attention, but the second captures hearts. Why? Because people are not truly drawn to outer show. They are drawn to authenticity, to the quiet glow of character that cannot be hidden. Outer show fades. Beauty, wealth, power, all are temporary. Time erodes physical appearance, money can be lost, and positions can change. But inner glow, once cultivated, only deepens with age. That is why some people become more inspiring the older they grow. Their wrinkles are not flaws, but signs of wisdom. Their silence carries weight because it is backed by experience. Their smiles shine brighter, not because of perfect teeth, but because of the kindness that radiates from their hearts. Think of the sun and a lamp. A lamp may shine brightly for a few hours, but it depends on fuel. When the fuel runs out, the lamp goes dark. Outer show is like that lamp. It needs constant maintenance and display. But the sun, it shines by its very nature. Its light is steady, powerful, and life-giving. Inner glow is like the sun. It does not depend on circumstances. It flows from who we are at the core, not from what we display externally. Some of the most impactful people in history were not the ones with glittering appearances, but those whose inner glow touched lives. Saints, teachers, reformers, and everyday heroes carried scars, hardships, and humility. Yet their glow lit up entire communities. They didn't need to shout about their greatness. Their presence spoke louder than any outer decoration ever could. Cultivating inner glow requires reflection and growth. It comes from practicing gratitude, choosing forgiveness, embracing humility, and standing firm in integrity, even when no one is watching. It is built through struggles that refine us, mistakes that teach us, and challenges that polish us. Outer show tries to convince others of our worth. Inner glow makes others feel their worth when they are with us. The real test of glow comes when no one is looking. If your outer show is stripped away, your titles, wealth, beauty, what remains? If the answer is kindness, wisdom, compassion, and resilience, then you possess something unshakable. That is why inner glow is greater than outer show. It shines in the dark, it shines through pain, and it continues to shine even when the world stops watching. We often think of power as something loud, visible, and immediate, like force, speed, or control. But true power is rarely about domination or quick results. Real power is patience. Patience is not passive waiting, nor is it weakness. It is the strength to endure without breaking, the wisdom to wait without losing hope, and the discipline to trust the process, even when the results are unseen. It is quiet, but it is mighty. Nature itself teaches us this truth. A seed is planted in the soil and seems invisible for weeks, sometimes months. If the farmer grows impatient and digs it up to check its progress, he destroys the very life he is waiting for. Growth takes time. Fruits do not ripen the day they are planted, and trees do not rise overnight. Everything of value takes time to mature, and patience is the power that allows us to wait through that process without giving up. Life too unfolds like this. When we chase instant results, we often end up disappointed. A person who wants instant success may cut corners, only to collapse when challenges come. A relationship rushed without patience may crumble, because the roots were never given time to grow deep. But when patience is applied, the foundation becomes strong. Just as the tallest buildings require the deepest foundations, The most enduring achievements require the longest preparation. Patience is also power because it keeps us calm when others panic. In times of crisis, people often act out of fear or haste, making decisions they later regret. But the patient person pauses, breathes, and responds with clarity. This calmness is not inaction. It is strength under control. It is the lion waiting for the right moment to strike, not wasting energy on random movements. Patience allows us to conserve our energy and direct it wisely. There is a story of a bamboo plant that illustrates this beautifully. For years after planting, nothing seems to happen. The farmer waters it daily, cares for it, but there is no visible growth. Many would give up, thinking the seed is dead. But after about 5 years, the bamboo suddenly shoots up, sometimes growing over 80 feet in just a few weeks. What was happening all that time? The bamboo was building strong roots beneath the ground, roots deep enough to support its incredible height. That is patience at work. Growth unseen is not growth denied. The waiting season is part of the preparation. Patience is also power because it teaches us humility. It reminds us that we are not in control of everything, that some things require trust in timing greater than our own. Whether it is the timing of opportunities, healing from loss, or the blossoming of dreams, patience requires faith. And faith itself is a form of power, the ability to believe in what cannot yet be seen. Think of all the strongest qualities in human beings: resilience, endurance, compassion, wisdom. All of them are impossible without patience. Resilience requires patiently rising after each fall. Endurance requires patiently walking mile after mile. Compassion requires patiently listening and understanding others. Wisdom requires patiently learning from mistakes and experience. In a world that glorifies speed, patience becomes a rare strength. But those who master it discover something remarkable. They may not arrive first, but they arrive strong. They may not shine instantly, but when they do, their light lasts. Impatience can give quick victories, but patience builds legacies. Endurance is not simply the ability to keep moving. It is the strength to keep moving when everything inside you wants to stop. And what gives us that strength? Faith. Faith is the invisible fuel that powers endurance. When life becomes heavy, when obstacles rise higher than we imagined, and when our own energy runs dry, faith whispers, "Keep going. This is not the end." Without faith, endurance feels impossible. Imagine a runner in a marathon who cannot see the finish line. Every step feels heavier, every breath feels harder, and soon discouragement takes over. But if the runner believes that the finish line exists, even if they cannot see it yet, they find the strength to take another step, and then another. Faith does not remove the exhaustion, it gives meaning to the exhaustion. Faith is not always religious. It is the belief in something greater than the struggle. It could be faith in God, faith in the bigger plan of life, faith in the process, or even faith in oneself. But without some form of belief, endurance quickly collapses under the weight of despair. With faith, however, Endurance becomes a journey of hope rather than just survival. Think of a farmer planting seeds. He endures the waiting season because he has faith that the harvest will come. If he loses faith, he will stop watering the soil and the seeds will never grow. But because of his belief in the unseen, he works with patience day after day. In the same way, faith gives us the courage to keep nurturing our dreams, even when no results are visible. History is filled with examples of faith fueling endurance. Leaders who fought for freedom endured prison, rejection, and hardship because they had faith in a vision greater than themselves. Parents endure sleepless nights and endless sacrifices for their children because of faith in the future they are building for them. Students endure years of study, stress, and exams because they have faith in the success that education can bring. Faith turns pain into purpose and struggle into stepping stones. Endurance without faith feels like dragging a heavy weight with no direction. But endurance with faith feels like carrying a heavy load while moving toward a meaningful destination. The load may still be heavy, but the journey makes sense. Faith is the compass that gives our endurance direction. There will be moments when faith itself is tested, times when prayers seem unanswered, when efforts seem wasted, when life feels unfair. In those moments, endurance seems hardest. But this is exactly where faith shines brightest. Faith says, even though I cannot see the sun, I believe it is still behind the clouds. Even though I cannot see results today, I trust that this effort will bear fruit tomorrow. That trust is what keeps us moving through darkness until the dawn arrives. Even in small, everyday struggles, faith fuels endurance. A patient waiting for recovery endures countless treatments because of faith in healing. An athlete trains through pain because of faith in victory in thee. A person struggling financially keeps working tirelessly because of faith that better days are coming. The circumstances may not change immediately, but faith keeps the heart alive and the spirit unbroken. Endurance on its own is like a body without breath. It may last for a while, but eventually it collapses. The faith is the breath that sustains it, the invisible strength that keeps the weary moving, the tired fighting and the broken believing. With faith, endurance becomes not just survival, but a journey of transformation, one where every struggle is a step toward something greater.